The following is a presentation of RMG Sports, award-winning championship television.
Race fans, buckle up for Chase to the Checkered. If you were wondering just how rough it was at Jennerstown Speedway last weekend, well, this happened in the qualifying heats. If rubbing is racing, and there was a lot of racing going on. So get strapped in, and don't be a hot dog. Chase to the Checkered starts now.
We're all members of the Somerset County Shrine Club, here to enjoy the races. Race fans, start your engines.
Race fans, welcome back to Chase to the Checkered. We kick this week's C2C off with the first of two 50-lap features in the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco late models. Holsoppel's Kerry Tadero in the number 14 started on the pole alongside of Greensburg's Jamie Bolkovac in the number 92. Bolkovac would pull ahead for the lead. By lap 3, number 38, Brad Creighton, was in second, but number 94, Mark Smith, would shoot by and take the position going into turn 3. A lap later, Smith would use the same move and the same groove to get by Bolkovac for the lead. Soon, veterans number 75, Barry Audi, number 11, Bobby Henry, and points leader number 98, Neil Brown, were challenging Bolkovac for position. But Mark Smith had taken the R&M Trucking Ford out to a huge lead. As Audi came up on Creighton for second, the 38 car gets loose in Ford. Audi took advantage and shot by seconds later. As the pack came into lap traffic, number 92, Jamie Bolkovac, hits the wall hard after she and number 69, Chris Lester, made contact. Watch the impact on the replay. All four wheels leave the ground. The resulting chain reaction damaged several cars, including number 50, Doug Bakioki, number 91, Tommy Beck, number 24, Charlie Kessler, and number 6, Snooky Williams. But Bolkovac Chevy took the brunt of the damage. She was okay, but done for the evening, which led to some discussions in the pits. Rookie number 69, Chris Lester, was black flagged for the first feature. On the restart after the red flag, Mark Smith and Barry Audi were side by side, but Smith would again take the lead. A few laps later, number 98, Neil Brown, got by Audi for second, but not without a little push at the end from 75. Number 11, Bobby Henry, and number 38, Brad Creighton, spent many laps door to door, but the number 11 got by on the front stretch for fourth. While Audi got back by Brown, Mark Smith's lead over the pack was tremendous. But it would disappear under caution with 3 laps to go. Number 58, Jim Uratovich, had spun in turn 2, setting up a green-white checkered shootout for the win. Smith held the lead and went on to win the first 50-lap feature of the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco late models.
I think we're pretty stout. The car's really driving good. My guys they work countless hours on it. Barry, he's pretty good shoe on the start, and he'd have worked me half to death.
In race 1, Smith was followed by Audi, Brown, Henry, and Creighton in the top 5. Rick Boyer, Kerry Tadero, Mark Catone, Tim Bainey Jr., and Wade Champano round out the top 10 finishers. After racing, we caught up to Chris Lester.
From my point of view, I was going into turn 1. I was holding a line, and from what I could see, Jamie came around, and she was cutting in. And from the damage that I have on my car, basically it just looks like she cut in and got a hold of my front tire. That was basically it. I don't know. Maybe I was out a little bit. I can't say for sure.
Jamie Bolkovac, who chose not to comment on camera, simply stated, quote, "Look at the damage to my car." That's my comment for the evening. This was the first of 2 late model features, race fans. Just wait till you see the highlights of race 2. Next up on C2C, the first of 2 15-lap feature races in the 96.5 Mountain Charger Division. Number 27, Greg Praisner, took off with an early lead. In typical Charger fashion, 3 wide passing was common in the pack. While Praisner took off with the lead, number 7, Chuck Slate, went low and passed number 22, Dwayne Knoll, for second. Number 00, Joe Geary, followed suit for third. But Praisner's lead would evaporate since number 74, Phil Grubbs, had spun in turn 2, bringing out the caution. This bunched the pack back up for a restart. Number 55, Curtis Stewart Jr., was only 2 rows behind the leader. After the restart, Stewart made short work of number 7, Chuck Slate, for third. Then, he stayed on the throttle and passed number 00, Joe Geary, for second, with Praisner next on his list. Stewart used the outside line to take the lead, but Praisner wasn't going down easily. Then Chris Kossel was sideways in turns 3 and 4, bringing out a caution with 4 laps to go. On the restart, Praisner and Stewart picked up right where they left off. In turn 4 of the final lap, number 74, Phil Grubbs, caught everyone's attention with this spin. But the 55 was a strong car, and Curtis Stewart Jr. won the first of 2 15-lap features in the 96.5 Mountain Chargers.
I think we need to go back and pull the car apart a little bit. I started to hear some gremlins, and now it's got me worried about the second feature, so I hope it pays out well.
The win was the North Huntington driver's 7th of the year. Stewart was followed by Level Green's Greg Praisner, who drove a great race. Chuck Slate, Joe Geary, and Travis Smith round out the top 5 finishers in the first of 2 15-lap features in the 96.5 Mountain Chargers. Coming up next on Chase to the Checkered, we still have 5 more features to cover, including the Tommy Gale Hallmark Trailers Pro Trucks and the Cobra Insurance Agency PA Legacies. Don't touch that dial. C2C will be back with the action right after this. Race fans, Chase to the Checkered continues with the highlights from the Sen West Street Stock feature. As number 07, Chris DeArmond, leads the field at the start, the battle in the pack heats up. It gets a little dicey as they come into turn 3. A few laps later, number 21, Johnny Jones, shot around number 33, Jeff Petrini, for second. As the race neared the halfway point, Jones went low and passed DeArmond for the lead. DeArmond falls victim to a speeding number 0 as Colarusso takes second. As they neared the final laps, Jones maintained his lead over Colarusso, but the leaders would swerve to avoid the spun car of number 29, Jimmy Krieger, in turn 2. This was not what Jones needed. A green-white checkered finish. After the restart, Colarusso was right on Jones's bumper. A slip by the leader in turn 2 let Colarusso get next to the 21 car for an exciting run to the Checkered. Then, Colarusso gets loose in turn 4, bringing George Nicola Jr. alongside of Jones. But Johnny Jones held on for a heart-pounding win in the Sen West Street Stocks.
Crew chief was on there telling me to dig, and it bit in and turned, and I was worried. I thought, oh, don't blow this, because I finished second so many times. We have a good running car, and I'm learning. I'm a rookie and learning.
This was the first street stock win for the Rockwood, PA driver. He was followed by George Nicola Jr., Roger Onstead, Chris DeArmond, and Dink Colarusso in the top 5. In the points, George Nicola Jr. maintained his lead, but Dink Colarusso and Adam Kostelnik are both only 24 points behind. Johnny Jones stays in 4th place, but Roger Onstead moves to 5th with his 3rd place finish. Jason Holder, David Tavermina, Richard Nicola, Bill Ashton, and June Wyant round out the top 10 in points in the Sen West Street Stocks. Now, the action continues with the Cover Insurance Agency PA Legacy Division. Number 4, Brett Boyer shot out to an early lead. But points leader number 29, Joey Denowitz, was working his way through the pack to the front. After riding side by side for many laps, number 13, Chris Brink, gets too high, and Denowitz fires ahead for 3rd. As we approach the halfway point in the race, Denowitz had come alongside of the 2nd place number 70 of PJ Ehrlich. He passed him a lap later. Now, the number 4 was in Denowitz's crosshairs. With only a few laps remaining, Boyer was feeling the heat. As they came to the line with 2 to go, Denowitz is right on Boyer's bumper, but the number 4 keeps the door closed. On the last lap, Denowitz works his way inside, but Boyer stays on the throttle and wins the Cover Insurance Agency PA Legacy Division feature by a fender.
Well, my crew put together a good car this week, and I'd like to thank Chris Kenzie and Rick Boyer and Ed Boyer. They're pretty much my crew. And I'd like to thank True Value for sponsoring the race tonight.
This was Boyer's first career victory at Jennerstown Speedway, so his victory lane speech is rusty. He ended Joey Denowitz's Jennerstown record-smashing win streak at 8. They are followed by PJ Ehrlich, Chris Brink, and David Holder in the top 5 feature finishers. In the points, Denowitz maintains his lead over Brett Boyer by over 60 points. They are followed by Chris Brink, Kyle Martell, and Dave Campbell in the top 5. Brad Grace, Bill Miller, PJ Ehrlich, Eric Kolakowski, and Kep Causer round out the top 10 in points in the Cover Insurance Agency PA Legacy Division. Now, more heart-pounding excitement in the Tommy Gale Hallmark Trailers Pro Trucks. Number 29, Nolan Halliday, led early, but number 97, Jason Lasky, and number 20, Josh Kokenauer, shot out in front and sent Halliday packing. Lasky pulled out to a nice lead, but it would disappear. Number 86, Terry Price, and number 1, Dink Colarusso, were sideways in turns 1 and 2. On the restart, number 20, Josh Kokenauer, shot out with the lead. The field would stretch out, with Lasky and the leader, number 20, Josh Kokenauer, building a nice lead. Just past the halfway point, mechanical problems would eliminate number 0, Dave Brunel, from competition. Immediately thereafter, number 1, Dink Colarusso spun on the front stretch, bunching the pack back up for the restart. With 3 laps to go, the veteran Reno was right on Kokenauer's tailgate. As the two came down the front stretch, it would be a near photo finish. Josh Kokenauer wins by a yard.
You get bumped around in the back end, quite a good bit. If you just run your own race and don't worry about what's behind you, you're going to come out on top.
This was the Somerset driver's second win of the year. He and Reno were followed by Todd Price. Jason Lasky drove a great race and finished 4th. Eugene Ciferno rounds out the top 5 finishers in the Tommy Gale Hallmark Trailers Pro Truck feature. White Oak's Marion Reno Jr. remains on top of the division's points, ahead of the second place Todd Price. But the win and the number 0 leaving the race with mechanical problems helps Josh Kokenauer leap over Dave Brunel for the 3rd place spot. Dave Marrow is 5th in points. He is followed by Jason Lasky, Joe Kelly, Aaron Will, Dave Manns, and Terry Price in the top 10 in points in the Tommy Gale Hallmark Trailers Pro Trucks. Coming up on Chase to the Checkered, we still have the highlights from Race 2 in the 96.5 Mountain Chargers and Wheeler Brothers AC Delco late models. That and much more when C2C returns. Race fans, Chase to the Checkered returns with the highlights from Race 2 in the 96.5 Mountain Charger Division. Number 55, Curtis Stewart Jr. started 9th in Race 2 and was stuck in some heavy traffic. After a disappointing first race, number 74, Phil Grubbs was in the lead. But as we approached the halfway point, Stewart had caught up to the leader. The two make contact on the front stretch. Stewart then showed his disapproval with a tap to the number 74's bumper. Later in the lap, Stewart cleanly passed Grubbs for the lead. And he would hold on to the lead and win back-to-back features in the 96.5 Mountain Charger Division.
I can't believe it happened, but I'm just thankful that nothing went wrong and everybody finished safely.
Stewart was followed by Phil Grubbs, Travis Smith, Chuck Slate, and Joe Geary in the top 5 feature finishers. Stewart holds a strong lead of 60 points over the second place Phil Grubbs. Dwayne Knoll, Michael Gillett, Bobby Fisher, Greg Praisner, and Scott Bowman round out the top 10 in the 96.5 Mountain Charger Division points. In the men's enduro feature, it was once again Gregory Lohr in victory lane.
It's nothing more than luck what happened there. Everybody it just seemed like there was a route there. I took it and ended up to the front.
Now, the highlights from the second 50-lap feature of the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco late models. The visiting Tim Bainey Jr. shot out with an early lead. Soon, points leader number 98 Neil Brown was alongside of number 38 Brad Creighton challenging for second. He would get by going into turn 3. On lap 20, the Silver Bullet was alongside of the leader Bainey and shot by for the lead. 4 laps later, the battle for 4th took a bad turn when Creighton, Barry Audi, and number 11 Bobby Henry were sideways in the backstretch with a slew of lap cars. On the restart, number 94 Mark Smith got by number 4 Tim Bainey Jr., putting the Richter Motorsports cars in 2nd and 3rd. As the race progressed, Neil Brown and Mark Smith were 1 and 2 and developed a large lead over the rest of the pack. With 5 laps to go, number 14 Kerry Tadero and number 38 Brad Creighton made contact, causing a pileup out of turn 4. Kerry Tadero voiced his displeasure with Brad Creighton's driving by clipping him as he went by. After the restart, Mark Smith would try, but he simply could not get by the number 98. And Neil Brown went on to win the second late model feature.
And I seen Mark gaining on me pretty quick. We got that caution, and it seemed like my tires cooled off and the car wasn't quite as tight. If we would have went green the whole way, I don't think I could have held him off.
This was Brown's 5th feature win of 2002. He was followed by Mark Smith, Mark Catone, Doug Bakioki, and Brad Creighton in the top 5. Creighton was the topic of conversation in the pits after race 2.
All the wrecked cars here tonight in the late models is from one guy. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to say other than that.
The 38 caused every wreck there was out there. I mean, that's the problem.
Give the guys the lane. They don't want to drive in the lane that you give them, so they end up dumping you. And I don't know what happened over there. The 14 car got all loose and stuff, and I was just too close to get out of it. When I did get out of it, I was already into them. So, shame it happened. Shame it tore up a bunch of other good cars.
The win keeps Neil Brown on top of the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco Late Model Division point standings. Barry Audi holds on to second with Mark Smith, Mark Catone, and Bobby Henry in the top 5. Brad Creighton, Snooky Williams, Jamie Bolkovac, Kerry Tadero, and Tommy Beck round out the top 10 in the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco Late Model points. I'm Bubba Connor from 96.5 The Mountain. Be sure to tune in next week for another action-packed episode of Chase to the Checkered. We'll see you then.